tonight. Important off-year elections could signal what's coming in 2020. The latest on the presidential campaign 1 year out. And the American economy. Wall Street is seeing historic highs. Will it last? Plus, in Northern Syria, hundreds have died and thousands more wounded or fled. So is Turkey's ceasefire actually working? All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Election Day 2019. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm Jenna Browder.
And I'm Eric Phillips in for John Jessup tonight. Voters in a handful of states are making big decisions today. In Kentucky and Mississippi, the governor's office is at stake.
And Virginia is another one we're keeping a close eye on, too. Tonight, we could see the Commonwealth's balance of power shift, and it could also signal what's coming in 2020.
You know, as the saying says, so goes Virginia, so goes the nation. So people are watching. People are paying attention, and I believe the registrar, when the registrar says that we're going to have high turnout.
Off-year elections historically have low voter turnout, but with the national spotlight on Virginia, we'll soon know if the attention and the issues got people out to the polls. And in these last few days, leading 2020 Democratic candidates and Vice President Mike Pence swung through the state, and the president has tweeted his support of Republican candidates as they try to hold on to control of the Virginia legislature.
Now to the race for the White House.
Yeah, the 2020 presidential election is 1 year away, and while Joe Biden is leading nationally, he appears to be struggling to stay there. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy joins us with the 2020 latest. Ben?
Well, Jen and Eric, it's kind of hard to believe, but 1 year from today, voters will make their mark for the next commander-in-chief. We'll get to hear from the top Democratic contenders in just about 15 days as they prepare for their next debate.
Doesn't just get some coverage.
With less than 100 days until the Iowa caucus, the field of Democrats is thinning as top candidates duke it out over health care.
If somebody else has a better plan to deal with that $11 trillion that families are going to pay over the next 10 years, then they should put it out.
Senator Warren is under attack for her plan on Medicare for All. The proposal calls for $20.5 trillion in federal spending, funded, she says, by raising taxes on wealthy Americans and businesses.
I promise you couldn't even get it passed.
I think that would probably have a very negative impact on creating those jobs or providing wages, increased wages and benefits for those workers. So I think we have a better way.
Even Mayor Pete Buttigieg questions Warren's math.
The math is certainly controversial. Again, there are variations in the estimates in the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And we don't have to go there in order to deliver health care to everybody.
This as a new Washington Post ABC News poll shows President Trump trailing top Democratic candidates, with Biden and Warren running the strongest against the president nationally.
And God bless our president!
But Trump doesn't seem worried. While campaigning at a rally in Kentucky Monday, he said America is stronger since he's been in office.
The do-nothing Democrats, and they're not getting it done. Under Republican leadership, the economy is booming, wages are rising, confidence is soaring. Kentucky is thriving like never, ever before, and America is stronger than ever before.
Now, if you focus on the campaign money, the president is pulling in a significant amount more than his Democratic rivals. Last quarter, the Trump campaign raised around $125 million to Sanders' $25 million, Warren's $24 million, and Mayor Pete's $19 million. Now, Biden had a bit of a poor quarter of fundraising, collecting just $15 million. That is down 20% from the spring. Eric, Jenna?
Ben Kennedy at the White House. Thank you very much, sir. CBN's chief political analyst, David Brody, joins us now for more. It's good to see you here today.
Good to see you, Eric.
Well, last weekend, Biden said Virginia would be telling of what's to come in 2020. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know about that. Look, I mean, Hillary Clinton won Virginia in 2016, and how did it work out for her? So, you know, let's put that on hold. Look, for President Trump, there's a couple things going on. You have the local issues. In Virginia, it's a big deal, right? The number we're going to look for tonight is 35%. In other words, roughly 30% of registered voters in Virginia go to the polls. It's very low. 70% are just not showing up. If they get to 35% of voters showing up, that's probably bad news for Republicans. I think Democrats' enthusiasm, that will be important for them. Having said that, let's remember Donald Trump is not on the ballot. So as much as Democrats are going to make a big deal, if it goes well for them tonight, it makes a difference when that guy, I've heard of him, he's driving all of us a little batty. When he's on the ticket, it means it's a big difference.
Well, David, President Trump, he's been on the stump these last few days. Last night he was in Kentucky, and of course he's known for his one-liners. He's known for those. His latest one seems to be read the transcript when it comes to Ukraine.
You know
what do you make of this one?
Well, he boils it all down, doesn't he, right? Make America great again. You remember that? What was Hillary's? I can't quite remember. Anyhow, the point is he's very good at it. Read the transcript. Not only that, he's been saying that for months now, or it feels like months. And then we have the T-shirts behind him at the rally in Kentucky, right? Read the transcript. And what is the Democrats' one line on impeachment? Ukraine, abuse of power, Yovanovitch, Volker. I mean, what is it exactly? And so they have a lot of dots they need to connect, and they haven't been able to do so far.
So a good part of this is marketing, is what you're saying.
Oh, for sure. And Trump is he is the marketer in chief.
So a new New York poll, New York Times poll, is saying that if in fact the election was today, that Trump would do better in the Electoral College than he did back in 2016. What do you make of that?
Well, it's significant. First of all, look, here's what it means. It means that Democrats, these Democrat candidates so far, Biden, Warren, and all of them, are not necessarily reaching those Trump Democrat-type voters, that blue-collar, white, Rust Belt voter, especially in the battleground states. That is a problem for them. And, you know, newsflash, maybe socialism or something along those lines has something to do with it. But the point is, if they're going to go left-leaning, this is going to be a problem for them, not just now, in November of 2019, more importantly, November of 2020.
Pete Buttigieg, we are seeing him get a spike in Iowa. David, what do you make of this?
Well, look, he is very articulate. He really is kind of the whole package, other than the fact that he doesn't have much experience necessarily. But beyond that, he packages it all very, very well. And he reminds me a lot of Barack Obama, the way he talks, especially his cadence. And so I think he's a force to be reckoned with. And if he comes out of Iowa in the 1, 2, or 3 slot, watch out. He could get some momentum for sure. Those
Buttigieg-Barack Obama comparisons have definitely been made.
That's a handful, by the way.
It is indeed.
Barack Obama?
It is indeed. David, thank you very much.
Thanks, David. Well, to Capitol Hill, House impeachment investigators have set their sights on Mick Mulvaney. They want the acting White House chief of staff to testify this Friday. In a letter today requesting his appearance, House committees say Mulvaney, quote, may have been directly involved in an effort orchestrated by President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and others to withhold a coveted White House meeting and nearly $400 million in security assistance in order to pressure Ukraine's president to pursue investigations that would benefit President Trump's personal political interests. Meanwhile, new testimony from the EU ambassador, Gordon Sondland, out today reveals he believes military aid to Ukraine was held up contingent on such investigations.
The impeachment inquiry came as a result of a whistleblower complaint about the now infamous Ukraine call. President Trump says the whistleblower gave false information and needs to come forward to testify before Congress. Senator Rand Paul sided with the president during a Trump rally in Kentucky last night.
The whistleblower needs to come before Congress as a material witness because he worked for Joe Biden at the same time Hunter Biden was getting money from corrupt oligarchs. I say tonight to the media, do your job and print his name.
Most lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say the whistleblower is entitled to anonymity.
And here now for more, Mark Lauder, Director of Strategic Communications for the Trump 2020 campain. Mark, good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, you know, President Trump and all of you, you're collecting data at all of these rallies. And last night in Kentucky, there was some staggering statistics. 23% of the people there were Democrats. What do you make of this?
Well, this is something we have seen through multiple rallies with the president, and we track all of this information, but it varies from 20 to 25% Democrat, and even higher in some areas. I think we got to 30% when we were in Minnesota earlier in the last couple of months, and that shows that the president is widening our party. He is attracting new people, and one of the even more important stats is that we get anywhere from 12 to 25% of people who are coming to these rallies who have only voted in one or none of the last 4 federal elections. So the president is bringing new people to the polls, bringing new people to the party, and that's something the Democrats just can't counter.
In 2016, we saw many, quote, closet Trump voters. Do you sense that same thing will happen in 2020? I mean, are you trusting the polls as they are right now?
No, I think most of these polls are meaningless. In fact, I saw just today that there was a new ABC Washington Post poll out. I looked at the data under that poll. They only polled 23% Republicans. There are more Republicans in California than there were in this poll. So why should we be surprised that you got a California-like result? No, the numbers that we track, the numbers that we have show the president's doing very well. He's bringing people out. And what I actually think he's doing is actually getting those silent people are becoming a little less silent these days. They want to show their support for this president. I think you'll even see that on display Friday when we introduce our new Black Voices for Trump coalition in Atlanta, Georgia.
The president, on the campaign trail right now, Mark, it seems like the only Democrat, 2020 Democrat he's going after is Joe Biden. Why is that?
Well, I think for a while, Joe Biden was seen as the front runner. Now, he is definitely languishing. I saw a poll earlier this week in the Democrat primary that showed he was running in 4th place in Iowa, even behind Mayor Buttigieg. So his campaign is definitely flailing. You see Elizabeth Warren out there. This thing will shake itself out, but it doesn't really matter who comes through this primary. We know they're going to be broke. We know they're going to be broken. And they'll have endorsed some of the most radical and liberal policies we have ever seen. They've gone so far to the left, they make Barack Obama look moderate these days.
There are many rumors swirling that Hillary Clinton could run. You say what to that?
Well, you know, that's what this democracy is all about. If she wants to put her name on the ballot again, I don't think she's going to like the outcome any more than she did in 2016.
How does the campaign see it? You know, there's all of this talk about, impeachment and all of this. Does this hurt or help President Trump ahead of 2020?
Well, I want to say, first off, I think it hurts the country. And I don't think that we should have to go through a process like this in a witch hunt. But if that's where the Democrats want to take this country, then we're prepared to respond. And what I will tell you is that since they have done their vote, since they announced their impeachment inquiry, the number of volunteers who have come to our campaign has skyrocketed. We have seen record new fundraising levels. $19 million just last month alone, which was the second highest month total we'd ever had, only eclipsed by when we had the kickoff back in Orlando last summer. These are massive numbers. People are coming out to support this president, and a lot of them see the witch hunt. They see he's being persecuted and just not allowed to do his job, and they want to come out and show their support for the president because of it.
All right, Mark Lauder, we have to leave it there, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Wall Street is looking up. The latest on stock gains when we come back.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Well, good news on Wall Street tonight. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended up the day around 31 points, marking a record high as the stock market rallies for the 5th straight week. The S&P slightly down around 3 points. Overall, the Dow is up 18% this year, while the S&P is up 23% and on track for its best performance since 2013. And Stephen Moore of the Heritage Foundation joins us now for more. Stephen, good to have you. The economy, it seems to be slowing down, even though stocks are hitting new highs. Any forecast on what's ahead, and how might this affect 2020, Stephen?
Well, first of all, this is just a blockbuster economy. I mean, it's hard to think of an economy that could do better than what we're doing right now. We have the lowest unemployment rate now for 50 years. We have lowest mortgage interest rates in 50 years. We have the lowest inflation rate in 50 years. We have 7 million surplus jobs in this country. We're seeing really nice gains in income for middle-class people. We estimate about $5,000 since Trump took office. So it's, in fact, the biggest problem in the economy right now is we're literally running out of workers.
Now, on the other side of that, though, Stephen, the deficit came in close to $1 trillion, and it's forecast to hit $1 trillion a year for the next several years. So will the growing national debt eventually hurt the economy?
Well, certainly it will, and we need to bring that deficit down. But I want to reinforce an important point that in 2019, the fiscal year ended on September 30, federal receipts, tax receipts to the federal treasury were higher than any other year in American history. So what that tells me, and I think it tells most Americans, is that we do not have a revenue problem. The tax cuts did not cause these big deficits that we're talking about. They were caused by runaway spending. And by the way, this is something that Trump inherited. We all knew that these deficits were going to take off like a rocket. I don't think Trump has done enough to cut spending, frankly. I've told the president that. I wish he'd get tougher on spending and use his veto pen more. But it is not a revenue problem. It's an overspending problem.
You mentioned China and the trade war. There are reports, Stephen, that President Trump and China are closer to an initial trade deal. What impact is that having on the economy right now?
Well, by the way, it's not done till it's done. That's one of the things we've learned with the Chinese, right? I mean, they may, have a handshake deal, but until they, have it signed, sealed, and delivered, I think markets are still a little nervous about whether this is going to get accomplished. I'm hopeful it is. I think that the odds are that it will happen, but I wouldn't bet my life on it because the Chinese have walked back a couple of times already this year on deals where we had a handshake agreement with the Beijing government. So this is, if it can get done, I think it'll be a big boost to the economy and the stock market. And I think that 2020 will look like a really strong year. But again, I don't want to overplay this. I think the Chinese are very difficult to pin down in these trade negotiations.
Like you said, it's not done until the ink is dry.
That's right. That's right.
We're seeing the potential for very big spending on plans like Medicare for All. What impact do you think some of them will have on our overall economy?
Well, you just asked me about these burgeoning deficits, and you were right to, because it's a big problem. And can you imagine how big our deficits would be if we had this Medicare for All program, which could cost $20 trillion over the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, we're talking about almost doubling the size of the national budget. There's no way, as you guys know, that we could possibly pay for this by just taxing rich people. Even if we took every penny from rich people, that might pay for 3 or 4 or 5 months of the program. That means the money's either going to have to come from major tax increases on hardworking middle-class families, the very families that Elizabeth Warren says she cares so much about, or else we're going to run deficits that are 2 or 3 or 4 times higher than they are today.
Something we'll continue to follow. Stephen Moore, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Humanitarian crisis in Syria. A look at whether conditions are improving in the wake of Turkey's ceasefire.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
President Trump says he's ready to wage war against Mexican drug cartels after at least 9 Americans, including 6 children, were killed today. The family was reportedly caught in gunfire between 2 cartels in northern Mexico. On Twitter, the president called the gunmen monsters, saying it's time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wipe them off the face of the earth. Mexican President Andrés López Obrador is declining Mr. Trump's offer. López Obrador has been harshly criticized for not taking a tough enough stand against the cartels.
Meanwhile, Iran's president says it will begin injecting uranium gas into over 1,000 centrifuges. Those centrifuges had been operating empty until now, but today's announcement marks another step toward Iran producing enriched uranium and possibly working toward building nuclear weapons. Iran said yesterday that it's operating more than double the number of centrifuges allowed under the 2015 nuclear pact.
A zone of death. That's what Northern Syria has become. Hundreds have died, and thousands more have been wounded or fled during the so-called ceasefire.
So what is Turkey's goal here? Chris Mitchell reports.
Hey, quickly! Move! We need to move!
During this so-called ceasefire, hundreds have died, thousands more have been wounded, and hundreds of thousands have fled. Turkish-backed forces have even attacked medical units.
I need you to talk to our guy and make sure we get all the wounded out. We're going to go.
One of the latest victims, Zao Sang, a volunteer cameraman and medic with the Free Burma Rangers, a Christian medical mission that rescues and treats the wounded on the battlefield. Dave Eubank leads this mission of mercy.
We worked on for an hour. Joseph, the medics, and I, CPR, adrenaline, oxygen, shocks, prayer, that he would stay with us in Jesus' name, but he didn't. So he's in heaven. Really sad, really sorry.
Despite the loss of their friend, he says their work to rescue the injured will continue.
We will stay here to keep serving you, the wounded, and speaking for you about this zone of invasion, the zone of death that the Turks and their proxies, jihadists and others, have launched.
Inside that zone of death live many Christians and other religious minorities.
This is their ancient homeland.
This map shows the buffer zone that Turkey's President Erdogan wants to establish. Charmaine, heading of the humanitarian aid organization, the Shy Fund, explains who lives there.
And where you have all the purple dots are all the ancient Christian villages, people who speak Aramaic, the same language Jesus spoke. They all live along this so-called buffer zone.
Some believe Turkey's leaders plan to claim more territory in the region as their own. Recently, Turkey's defense minister posted this map that shows portions of Greece, Syria, and Iraq as part of a greater Turkey. The map reflects the 1920 Ottoman national oath that includes lands Turkey believes it deserved at the end of World War I. Both maps include the Iraqi cities of Erbil, Mosul, and the oil-rich territory of Kirkuk. In 2016, Turkey's President Erdogan said of Mosul, "Let them read the national oath and understand what that place means to us."
Their open intentions to restore the original caliphate that was disbanded in 1924. So 2024 is a very important year because it's the 100-year anniversary of the caliphate, and the Turkish regime is attempting to restore that caliphate right now.
Heading sees an historical parallel with World War II.
I think that what we have done as the West is that we have given over this so-called buffer zone to Turkey in the hope for peace in our time, just like Chamberlain did to Nazi Germany with the Sudetenland. And we know what happened after that.
In the meantime, Heading and others believe a U.S.-enforced no-fly zone would help prevent another genocide. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, why this landmark ship may be close to taking a deep dive down Niagara Falls.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torresadillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Finally tonight, for more than 100 years, a cargo ship has been stuck on the rocks near Niagara Falls. The massive boat has become a landmark of sorts.
Yeah, but that landmark could soon be going over the ledge. For the first time in 101 years, the ship called the Iron Scow has moved closer to the edge of Horseshoe Falls. Recent heavy rains and wind dislodged the boat, resting it again just half a mile from the brink. Niagara Park officials say it's now a waiting game to see when and if the ship might go over the falls.
That's what you call a boat on the edge.
No kidding. That video is incredible.
It really is.
We'll see.
Have a great night.